Thanks, Alan. Pages 32 and 33 is where you need to be now. The race getting underway now. Just carry on with the grid. 162 and 75, the 19th row. The 20th row, 191 and 24, 191 and 24. Row 21 is 48 and 67, 48 and 67. The 22nd row is 133 and 11. The 23rd row, 101 and 51, 101 and 51. The 24th row, 168 and 152, 168 and 152. The 25th row, 115 and 262. The 26th row, 911 and 91. The 27th row, 61 and 136, 61 and 136. The 28th row, 107 and 49, 107 and 49. At the very back, we've got number 43, which is one of the reserves. That's Ian Pearson with the Marcos 1800 GT. Right, we don't know, as I say, who's in any of the cars, except, but Andrew may be able to give us some help on that. Andrew, off you go.
Yes, I can. Well, certainly David Hart is at the wheel of that Cobra. I think that's in the lead.
Can you give us the numbers if you don't, without the numbers?
Okay, David. Yeah, David Hart. You know, I've got to go through various
76.
numbers. The leading Cobra, yes, it's got David Hart in it. Obviously, Steve Soper had that fantastic giant killing act on Friday to put his Elan on the front of the grid. Is driving solo, so that's obviously not going to have any change. The 144, Paul Pochicol in that AC Cobra is up near the front thanks to James Hanson's effort. Paul Pochicol is definitely starting that car. Who else have we got, Ian, that's near the front that I might be able to tell you?
The Dodds, Graham and James.
Yes, James Dodd definitely starting that car.
James Dodd in that, good.
Yeah. Sorry, no, wrong. Graham Dodd starting that.
Well, that would be normal. Normally Dad goes first.
Yeah, I did see, that's right. I saw Graham Dodd standing there, yeah.
And 192, I'm assuming, as usual, is Julian Thomas going first in the... No? Yes? Right, and then the Pearsons, 53, I'm assuming there that it's John Pearson going first, because Gary is in another car, I think, or was going to be, but anyway, it'll probably be John Pearson going first in number 53. Sorry about this vagueness, but the system of providing us with details of start drivers clearly is broken down, and we've got no list of facts through to us. So the car's coming through at the completion of lap 1 with David Hart in the lead. We know that much. Julian Thomas, we can guess at being in second place, number 192. And in third place is the leading E-Type Jaguar, number 33 of John Minshaw. Now, there was some suggestion at one stage that was going to be shared with his son Jack, but I think it's just going to be John driving the car in this race. So John Minshaw going solo in his E-Type Jaguar, lying in third place. Then Graham Dodd in number 211 in fourth place. I'm guessing at John Pearson being in fifth place in the Jaguar, number 53. In sixth place, Steve Soper's led his land, going solo anyway, number 3.
Julian Thomas takes the lead at the loop, getting past the David Hart car, and very, very close it was, but they didn't touch. But that was a very late braking manoeuvre from Julian.
I've got Mark Martin driving around in circles up here in the little escape road. He's got a damaged headlight, but I think that must be... He's trying to find a way out, but not quite sure which way to go to get somewhere to park it. Anyway, he's out of the race, I think, that one. Mark Martin, number 79. So Julian Thomas then in the lead. Steve Soper I got to in sixth place, and then in seventh place we've got number 32, another soloist, John Spears with his TVR Griffith. And then in eighth place, number 172, which is the renumbered number 72, is now running as 172. Just to fill in other drivers that may be seen in these cars, number 7, Simon Hadfield, will take over from Wolfgang Friedrichs. Normally Wolfgang goes first in his Aston Martins, and then Simon Hadfield or his son, or Wolfgang's son, Paul Friedrichs, will take over.
Well, David Hart has been a bit swamped by the E-Types and also by the Steve Soper Elan as well, but way out front is Julian Thomas in his Daytona Cobra.
Indeed he is. So other extra drivers, number 9 Craig Davies, who we saw out earlier in the Sierra, Ray Donner is sharing with him. Ollie Bryant we've had already on the podium. He's sharing with James Cottingham, the number 21 AC Cobra. I would imagine that James Cottingham will start because it's his car. There's problems with Ollie Bryant, the Bryant's normal Cobra. 48 Gregor Fiskin is John Clark driving with him. 66 has Paddy Shovelin in place of Niall Murray as the second driver. Number 72 is renumbered 172. Simon Fish shares with Robin Ellis in car 77. Nick Swift is sharing with Mark Burnett in the little Ogle base, the mini-based Ogle SX 1000. Car 163, Andy Palmer replaced by Grant Tromans. Car 168, Nick Finberg is joining Mark Gordon. Car 266, Michael Collins shares with Niall McFadden. And 133, Jeremy Lee joins Alex Bell. So that gives you all the drivers who might be in the car. Andrew, what else do you know?
Well, I know that John Pearson's definitely in the 53 because I've just seen Gary on the pit wall here. I'm still trying to walk down and try and recognise other faces. And also we've got 144, that Daytona Cobra is in the pits, and I think that looks fairly terminal. Not quite sure what it is, mechanics leaning into the cockpit. So we'll see if I can sort out a few more for you.
Anything you can do would be helpful, Andrew.
Okay. And I see Jake Hill down here, because so he obviously isn't in that Elan yet.
Yes, so he will be taking over. I mean, he was the star of this race last year. Rob Fenn, therefore, in number 166 at the moment. And those of you who were here last year may remember the incredible drive that Jake Hill, who normally is to be found racing in the British Touring Car Championship, put in that Lotus Elan to see off some much more muscular machinery. And it really was quite a drive. And although Jake continues to be a young driver, aspiring to great things in touring cars, it has helped his reputation as a driver considerably. So there on the screen you can see the number 53 E-Type, and with Andrew is Jake Hill before he gets into the car. Andrew?
So it was last year where you had that phenomenal drive, Jake, was it? You're never going to forget that.
Absolutely not. It was a drive to remember forever. So yeah, it's going to be tricky to do the same again. Rob's out there at the moment doing a good job. I think he's had a bit of a tricky first lap. But yeah, if we can try and get a class podium, that's our aim.
And will he come in as the window opens?
We'll just see, see what happens with safety cars and whatnot. You don't know what's going to happen around the corner. So we'll just play it by ear. But yeah, I'll just get in and do what I do best.
Very different form of racing, isn't it, driving at Elan compared to what you normally do?
Absolutely, and even compared to the Mustang.
You're not allowed to
yesterday.
rub against them,
No, I know. Obviously yesterday we had a bit of that, but yeah, it's been a great weekend so far.
Great, thanks very much, Jake's father, Simon, down here as well, who, of course, was raced in Formula Barber Saab all those years ago. Just seeing Simon here, who's also on the podium, on the pit perch with Jake. So, yeah, it's all happening down here, Ian.
Indeed, it will be continuing through this race. Again, the pit stop window is kept a secret from us, but when it comes up on the screen, we'll have a better idea. Well, in fact, we will know that the pit stop it'll be about 1/3 distance when the pit stop window opens. So in the lead at the moment then is Julian Thomas in the 192, in the number 192 Daytona Cobra. Not a real one, it's a replica built up in recent times. John Minshaw in the E-Type in second place, number 33. Graham Dodd's E-Type, number 211, is third. Fourth is John Pearson's E-Type, number 53. Fifth is Steve Soper in the number 3 Little Lotus Elan. Dropping down to sixth place is David Hart in the number 76 Daytona Cobra Coupe replica. In seventh place is John Spears in the TVR Griffith. Eighth is number 127, that is Martin Stretton. Stefan Siegler not sharing the car with him, so it's just Martin Stretton in the E-Type Jaguar, having stepped out of a Formula 1 car straight into a racing E-Type. In ninth place is number 172, which could be either Richard Cook or Harvey Stanley. And in 10th place, number 16, is Andrew Haddon. Making progress up the order there. I notice it's the number 5 car, I mean, of John Young or Jack Young, father or son, Father John. Meanwhile, Steve Soper in the blue Elan, giving the E-Types a hard time, rather in the way that Jake Hill did with the Rob Fenn car last year. There's John Minshaw down into Stowe Corner, followed by Graham Dodd, and then 53 John Pearson with Steve Soper right behind him through Stowe, and John Spears in the TVR keeping him closely in touch. Tom Ingram, also another driver from the British Touring Car Championship. Tom Ingram is now, whether he's starting off in number 30 or whether it's Marco Attard. I'm going to speculate it's Tom Ingram at the moment, but I could be wrong. That car currently is in 13th place, number 30. Rob Fenn in the Lotus Elan that's going to be taken over by Jake Hill. That car, number 166, is currently 16th. Well, Steve has sorted out one E-type by the looks of things, so the next one to find a way past is the Cobra of David Hart, who's moved up into 4th place. John Pearson losing a couple of places on that lap. Leader on his way down. And followed by the 2 E-types running side by side. A challenge there as they go into Brooklands, possibly by Graham Dodd. Decides not to push it too much. Dent in the nose of the E-type caused earlier on in the race. The E-type of John Minshaw. It was inflicted early on in the race, that dent on the E-type's nose, by a wiggle of the tail of the Cobra, the number 76 Cobra. The car didn't, in other words, start the race like that. The lead that Julian Thomas now has over John Minshaw, 5.1 seconds. In recent years, more of these copy Daytona Cobras have been emerging, and the E-types, which are all based on original cars, we've at last got the list of start drivers, better late than never. So, just to go through, before they have the pit stops, just so you know who's in the cars, going down in program order. Well, I'll just go through this list, which is now got. So we've got number 4 withdrawn. Number 5 is Jack Young to begin with. Number 7, Wolfgang Friedrichs, as I thought, will be starting in that car. Number 8, Richard Kent, will be handing over to British GT driver Joe Osborne. That E-type, number 8, which is currently down in 20th place, actually. 9 has been withdrawn, Craig Davis's car. Number 11 is a soloist, number 13 is a soloist, number 16 on his own. Number 19 is Tony Best to begin with. Number 21 is James Cottingham to begin with. And then Ollie Bryant will take it over. Number 29 is Keith Arlers, as usual, he goes first, and Billy Bellinger goes second in the Morgan. Number 30, Tom Ingram, as I suspected, has started. Tom Ingram in the Marco Attard's Chevrolet Corvette. 31 has been withdrawn. 32, John Spears on his own, John Mitchell on his own. The next shared car, number 43, that's one of the reserves, but he's got into the race. Ian Pearson goes first, and he's handing over to the quick Formula Ford racer, Callum Grant, Marcus 1800 GT. 47, Rick Bourne goes first. He's going first in that. He's in the car. 48, Gregor Fiskin has started. 49, Robert Ingram has started. 51, Olivia Wilkinson has started. 52 has been withdrawn. That's the little Ginetta of Ron Maiden. 53, John Pearson, as Andrew has confirmed to us, is the driver. 61, Michael Bell started in that car. 66, Paddy Shovlin has started in. An Irish driver replacing Niall Murray. 67 on his own, 75 on his own. 76, David Hart, as we know, is in the Cobra. Number 77, Robin Ellis has started in that car. Number 84, Steve Jones, is driving first. And on to the Mike Wrigley is on his own in number 89, so no Matthew Wrigley in number 89. And then we've got 91 is Michael Goff going first. 96 is Nils Frederick Niblos going first in number 96. 107 is Mark Burnett, with Nick Swift due to take that car over. 127 Martin Stretton on his own. 133 Jeremy Welsh is the start driver. That's one of the reserves. Oh, Jeremy Welsh. We told it was Jeremy Lee, but Jeremy Welsh sounds more likely. So Jeremy Welsh starting in that car. And 144 Paul Potchkol We established that through Andrew. 151, Jason Yates is the start driver. 152, Rupert West is the start driver. It's 163, Grant Thomas. Not Grant Thomas, it's Grant Tromans starting in 163. 166, as we know, is Rob Fenn. 168 is Mark Gordon going first. They've probably got around to the pit stops now. 172 is Richard Cook. That's the renumbered 72. Richard Cook first in that car. 191, Mark Home. 192, Julian Thomas. We now know the leading car driven by Julian Thomas. 199, Nick Powell. 207, Crispin Harris. Nearly there. 211 is Graham Dodd, as we know. 223 is Chris Fox going first. And the only other one, 266, is Niall McFadden to begin with. And then apparently Paddy Shovlin is going to drive that car as well. They seem to have been changing their minds about that all the way through the weekend. But Paddy Shovlin is scheduled to be the second driver of that car. Niall McFadden starting. Right, there we are. So we know who's in the cars. We haven't yet got to the pit stop window. And whilst I've been keeping my head down looking at the driver nominations, out in front, Julian Thomas has opened up a lead of 11.5 seconds by putting in quicker and quicker laps. He's just done last time around the fastest lap of the race.
Changes for second place because 211 finally got past John Minshaw, Graham Dodd, but then he's been passed, as has John Minshaw, by David Hart, who's recovering from that first lap incident. I think you said it was him that caused the damage to John Minshaw's car,
yes,
which lost him a few places, but he's finally wriggled his way back into second.
So the Cobra's now where you'd expect to find them, first and second.
Absolutely, yes, and then it's two E-types. And then an Elan. And
then the little Elan of Steve Soper in 5th place still. John Pearson 6th. In 7th place, number 32, John Spears. In 8th place is Martin Stretton. 9th is Andrew Haddon. And in 10th place, 172, which is originally 72, which we now know is driven by Richard Cook. And side by side there, and around the outside goes Graham Dodd to take the place away from John Minshaw. So Graham Dodd moving up ahead of John Minshaw into what is now 3rd place as they come through to complete their 7th lap. We're coming up towards the pit stop window opening, I think, but again, we haven't been told whether... Oh, it is now open. So the pit stop window now opened. And we expect to see cars coming in, I think, fairly soon. It's not a very long window. And Steve Soper then closing up onto the tail of the John Minshaw E-Type. So there's the Cobra in 2nd place, the Green Cobra. David Hart handed over to his quick son, Oliver Hart. David's not slow either. Down towards Brooklands they go. And John Minshaw looking to try and repass the Graham Dodd E-Type. That might be possible, but passing, I think, the Daytona Cobra of David Hart, unlikely. Steve Soper lining up alongside as they come out of Luffield there, getting level with the E-Type of John Minshaw, but not quite able to... Oh, he runs out of power eventually, doesn't he? But the leader probably already passing you again, Alistair, I think, by now.
Yes, in Beckett's spot-on timing there as Julian Thomas goes through. Now we look back towards Copse Corner for this battle led by David Hart in 2nd place in the Cobra, followed by the E-Type of Graham Dodd, then John Minshaw, then the Terrier in the pack of Steve Soper, doing a little bit of a reprise for Jake Hill for the Elans up the front, isn't he, Steve Soper?
Indeed, yeah, that's right. And the one that Jake Hill will be taking over has just come into the pits. So Rob Fenn coming in at the earliest opportunity to hand over to Jake Hill. The car was in 16th place when it came in. I think I'm right in saying it's probably the first car to make a pit stop. Oh, the other one that's come in, number 133, is the Austin Healey. I'm surprised if Jeremy Welsh is coming in so soon to hand over to Alex Bell, but anyway, that car is in the pits, number 133. running down in 27th place. One of the many Austin Healys in the race. Right, so back ahead, John Minshaw's little scrap with Graham Dodd continues, and it's gone back ahead of him. Steve Soper just sitting and watching the fun between the E-types just ahead of him. Through they go then, so John Minshaw back up into 3rd place, Graham Dodd 4th. And into the pit lane comes John Pearson. And Steve Soper still in 5th place. And talking of Elan drivers, there's number 16, which is the Andrew Hatton car, which was running well. That was in the top, well, in 11th place. In fact, I was going to say the top 10. It was at one stage, but it won't be anymore. I think we'll have lost a couple of places. Yes, he has. He's dropped down to 11th place, number 16. Passed by the Cobra, number 21 of James Cottingham, and the number 172. The 172 car of Richard Cook.
And the yeah, carry on, Ian.
I was going to say side by side the two E-types. I think Graham Dodd's going to take the place back. Is he from John Minshaw as they go into Brooklands? No, not quite, but nearly. Into Luffield then. John Minshaw just holding off, and Steve Soper again coming up level with Graham Dodd as they come through Luffield. Out of it, of course, the E-type then has the acceleration to pull away from the smaller engine Lotus Elan, which is just lapping another Elan. Andrew.
You are not going to see any historics, I'm afraid, from heroics, I mean, from Jake Hill, because Rob Fenn's just told me that the seal on the the seal on the rear diff was gone. As I look at the car, there's lots of oil underneath it, so that's the end of that effort, I'm afraid.
Well, never mind, Andrew. We had the heroics of Jake yesterday, didn't we, in the Mustang?
We did.
So we'll have to look elsewhere for our little ones, and I think Steve Soper is doing it at the moment, doing a very good job of drawing attention to what Elans can achieve. He's level as he comes out of Chapel Curve with the E-type of Graham Dodd onto Hanger Straight. The power of the E-type pulls it away from the Lotus Elan. This is a new project for Steve this year, this Lotus Elan, and he's not done that many races with it, but those he does rather well in. As you might imagine with Steve Soper, every car he races always meticulously put together. Still, we haven't had that many pit stops, but David Hart's come in, hasn't he? David Hart in the pits with the 2nd placed Cobra, and on his way out again. Also in and out, the Pearsons have swapped. So Gary Pearson has taken over from John Pearson, and the Wrigleys have also swapped over. Andrew?
Yeah, I got David Hart here. I was just having a bit of debrief with Nicky Pastorelli here. How was it?
Yeah, it was a nice race. The last race was in the Ford Capri, so that was on slick tires. So I have to get used in it again. It cost me at least 3 laps.
Did it really?
Yeah, so finally I kept myself together, and then I went back, so that was good.
And Olivier, he's going to be on the same pace as you?
No, he will be much quicker. And
you sure?
Yeah.
So you're standing with a chance of a victory here then?
I don't know. I think we are driving a little bit more quiet with the tires as they do. So I hope that their tires will not last, but Olivier will be really quick.
David, every year here you bring some wonderful cars. It's great to see you racing, and always so competitive, you two Hearts.
Yeah, I'm happy that I can come. I'm happy that I have the money to buy this stuff, and I'm happy to do it for sure with my son. And I'm also really happy that all my mechanicals are my mechanicals, so we are doing everything at home.
Excellent. Thank you very much. The old Flying Dutchman.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. So that's David Hart and Olivier now in the car that they are sharing. The car at the moment down in 16th place, but they've just made the pit stop. This is the number 76 Daytona. Yet to stop is Julian Thomas in the number 192 Cobra. Also yet to stop is John Minshaw, but Graham Dodd has come in to hand over to his son James. Steve Soper is yet to stop. John Spears is yet to stop, but he's generally somebody who stops late in a race in the window. Martin Strent's come in, and we've got the leader in the pit lane, a bit held up there by the Mustang, Larry Tucker's Selby Mustang. So probably a bit of frustration there on the part of Julian Thomas. There is a speed limit in the pit lane, but not in the pit entrance road. And so some drivers can just go rocketing down the pit entrance road, particularly if you're leading the race. So, yeah, a bit of frustration there for Julian Thomas, as he now is in the pit lane, speed limit pit lane. And very busy pits, actually, as you can see that good overhead shot of the very busy pits from this very, very large entry. That looks like Steve Soper's Ilan making his way back into the race. But it can't be, because he hasn't yet stopped, unless it is Steve stopping now. Yes, it is Steve stopping now, isn't it? He's further up the pit lane. So, number 3 in the pits. John Minshaw's come in. He's now, as we understand, going solo. The car that was leading, obviously for the moment he's going to lose the lead. Callum Lockie taking it over. And John Minshaw, as I say, also in. The Youngs have come, or John Young has come in to hand over to Jack, or was it the other way around that they were? Number 5. Jack Young started, so John, his father, is going to take the car over. Now back into the race goes number 192. Just waiting for the screen to update itself. That car still showing as being in the lead, but it can't be with that pit stop. Andrew Haddon has come in, but the information on the timing screen is slightly curious, suggesting that I think it's until they complete another lap that we'll have a better impression of exactly where the cars are from the timing screen. Steve Soper then 3rd, John Spears 4th. There is another of the AC cars, a conventional shaped Cobra, showing its AC heritage.
From up here on the Aintree side of the circuit, we've had the 192 car, now driven by Callum Lockie, go through. Olivier Hart was about the length of the Wellington straight behind him, and then we've got the 2 E-types back battling again. The 2 E-types being the Minshaw, and I think that was the Bryant car. So now Cottingham.
That's a Cobra, isn't it?
In what I meant to say was that the trying to work out who's where. It's the Dodd car. That'll be the Dodd car.
Yes, now driven by James.
Of course, yes. I'm sorry, I got my families mixed up there, the Bryants and the Dodds, but yes. So the Dodd car is still right behind the solo John Minshaw car.
Well, down the pit lane, meanwhile, comes number 172, which is the Cobra Richard Cook started in, and is now going to be taken over by Harvey Stanley. Right, now we're getting a more... yes, I don't know quite why the screen was so behind, but anyway, John Spears now leads, but doing his usual say of staying late, stopping late. Only now coming into the pits is the number 21 Cobra, James Cottingham, to hand over to Ollie Bryant, who normally races the Cobra he shares with his dad, but this is the car of Richard Cook, of James Cottingham, I mean. So John Spears yet to stop, leads, number 32 is his car, the TBR Griffith. In second place, number 21, yet to stop, is the AC Cobra of James Cottingham. Almost everybody else has now made their stop, including Steve Soper, although the screen doesn't show that he has made the stop, but there we go. And in third place, it may well prove to be the number 192, now Callum Lockie, Daytona Cobra. But the 2 E-types, as you say, Alice, are just going over the line there, with James Dodd right behind John Minshaw. Graham, James's dad, is quick. James is perhaps slightly quicker, and is going to give John Minshaw a hard time, as he's doing now as they come back into your sight.
Yes, out of farm into village, and they've got 2 slower cars in front of them. They decide to take a wide and a tight line, and the tight line actually works out better initially for John Minshaw. He goes round the outside of the SLR Morgan, then switches back to the inside of one of the E-types, but right behind him and following him all the way through in that zigzag was James Dodd.
Yes, they're side by side now. Up ahead of them is the Shelby GT350 Mustang, yeah. Then the Marcos Volvo just ahead of that. Into Brooklands, still is John Minshaw, just ahead James Dodd from the pits, Andrew. Thought we were going to hear from Andrew. There's the slightly wounded E-type of John Minshaw going through Woodcote. And we'll get a better fix on where it is. John Spears has at last come in. The pit window is still open, so John Spears, whose TVR has briefly taken the lead, now into the pit lane. So it'll be another lap before we can see who it is who's going to be back in front. Tom Ingram has stayed out for a long time in Marco Attard's Chevrolet Corvette Stingray. It's risen to 4th place, that car, number 30. But I would envisage it's going to be Callum Lockie, number 192, that will be, there's the car coming into club corner now. And when it comes over the line, we may well find it'll go into the lead. There the E-type's going through Stowe. Well, in fact, it doesn't go into the lead, he goes into 3rd place for the moment. But things have been done on the screen. Andrew.
Sorry, I was in the middle. Did you hear me talking to Tom Ingram?
No, not
No,
a bit.
you didn't hear. Okay, we're going to start again, Tom. I'm sorry.
Hello, Tom.
Yeah, Ian Tishwas says hello. We say your hair is splendid in your Ginsters Pies race suit from Team Toyota, of course. But you just repeat what you said to me. I'm so privileged to race 2 very good, interesting, historic cars this weekend. You were so eloquent about it.
Absolutely, and it's been such a privilege this weekend. You know, the first time I've ever competed at the Silverstone Classic, and to share it with 2 fabulous cars, with the Stingray and then the Cortina yesterday. Something incredibly different from what I'm used to, but I'm absolutely loving the challenge of it. So I've been a very, very lucky boy this weekend.
I think you'll be coming back next year, won't you?
I do hope so. Yeah, absolutely right. And see if I can jump in some other bits and pieces and some other toys. But I've been very lucky this weekend, as I say. Marco Attard has very kindly asked me to come and drive with him. So yeah, it's been a fantastic event, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
A different mindset coming into this weekend compared with the BTCC. I mean, obviously less pressure on you.
Yeah, but from a racing driver's perspective, you always want to come and win, don't you? You always want to come and do the best job you possibly can, and look to impress. And for me, that's something I always live up to. And I say live up to, but I always try to perform at my very best whenever you get the chance. And you know, I love coming to events like this and remembering why we all love motorsport. And it's to drive some fantastic cars right on the limit, completely sideways through Luffield. It's absolutely fantastic. So you remember why you love the sport when you come and have some really enjoyable weekends like this.
Tom, thanks very much. A very eloquent young man, and I think he could become a commentator when he's older.
He's a good guy, Tom Ingram, no doubt about it. Very good guy. And yes, he could become a commentator when he retires in about 50 years' time. Anyway, that's Tom Ingram, one of the stars of the BTCC. And on the track, I'm totally convinced the screen is working properly, but anyway, we're being told that on the screen that number 21 is in the lead. I'm not quite sure that is the case, but that is the Cobra. But the screen seems to have frozen. So how many more minutes we've got to sort it out? 16 minutes before the end of the race. So hopefully we'll get there. Up into 2nd place has come 192. As expected, Callum Lockie then shown on the screen now as being in 2nd place. But second only to a car that has just made a pit stop. That's the James Cottingham Ollie Bryant Cobra. Ollie Bryant will have now taken that car over. So in 2nd place, Olivier Hart, and he is 14 seconds behind Callum Lockie. So if there is a race to be had, it's between those 2. Last time around, Olivier Hart in the number 76, the green Daytona Cobra, was slightly quicker, but not by that much. So I'd have thought that at the moment, yes, Callum Lockie has upped his pace. In fact, that time around has gone even quicker. So just going out of the pits is the number 21 Cobra, which James Cottingham came into the pits with very late in the window. Ollie Bryant has now taken it over, but that car won't be leading. It's leading when he came into the pits, but it won't be staying in the lead next time around. The lead held now by 192 as it was at the beginning of the race. Olivier Hart 2nd, and James Dodd in 3rd place. And then we've got James Dodd having got ahead of John Minshaw in 5th place, but that is all subject to adjustment once we have the number 21 Cobra put in its right place, but the effect of its pit stop will be worked out. But you got the leader.
We have, yes, going through. Beckett's got a couple of slower cars to get through. Doesn't manage to get past either of them in the Beckett's complex, so Callum Lockie just choosing to bide his time until the hangar straight. And then we've got the second of the Daytona Cobras with Olivier Hart at the wheel. Has a similar problem, gets past the first of the Elans and then heads off down the hangar straight with 4 further cars to pass. And we notice that the E-Type battle between James Dodd and John Minshaw has now gone the way of James Dodd, and he's taken out about 2-second lead, I think, over John Minshaw.
Now, to show there's no bias one way or the other, Andrew's gone to the other Cobra to talk to its driver, Julian Thomas, I guess.
Yeah, with Julian down here, well, it's looking pretty good at the moment, and I guess Callum's doing a strong job.
Absolutely, yeah, the car looks strong. The Harts are going really quickly. It's game on.
Yeah, you had a good first stint, though.
Yes, it was a bit rough and tumble in those first few laps, but I thought I've just got to gap these guys and get out of it because it was getting a bit silly.
You must absolutely love that Cobra. It's a replica, I presume, is it?
Totally, yes.
When was it built?
It was built last year.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Is that new? Is it?
It's that new, yes. Yes.
Well, it's fabulous to see these cars because they're built with original parts, of course, and to the original design.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, it's just like driving one of the old cars, but nothing like the 6 or 7 million that they normally are.
Andrew, you can tell Julian that Callum has just done the fastest lap of the race.
Oh, Callum's just done the fastest lap of the race, so you're pulling away a bit, I think.
Good, yeah, that's what we need. Excellent.
Well, hopefully we might see you on the podium.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Julian Thomas there started the leading car.
Yeah, and the way things are going, as I say, Callum Lockie has literally just done, whilst you were talking to Julian, the fastest lap of the race, 2:28.462. Not that much slower, fair enough, is Olivier Hart, but he's obviously not reducing the gap. He's lapping at the same sort of pace, but not quicker. So, in fact, last time around, Olivier did his best lap of the race, but not quite as quick as Callum in the number 192 car. So the battle of the Cobra, the Daytona Cobra Coupes, I think is going to go the way of the number 192 car. In 3rd place, the better the E-Types, is the originally Graham, now James Dodd E-Type, number 211 is 3rd. 4th is number 33, John Minshaw. 5th is number 32, John Spears in the TVR Griffith, driving solo. In 6th place is 53, now Gary Pearson in the E-Type. 7th is 127, Martin Stretton's E-Type. In 8th place is Andrew Haddon's E-Type, number 16. In 9th place is 172, which is the Shelby Cobra, now driven by Harvey Stanley. And in 10th place, number 21. Now, the effect of the pit stop has briefly put that car in the lead, but it's now back to where it was running anyway before its delayed pit stop. In 10th place, number 21, now Ollie Bryant at the wheel of that Cobra. In 11th place, number 89, is the E-Type, now being driven by Mike Wrigley, his son Matt having started the race. And then in 12th place is number 174, that's Mark Donner's E-Type Jaguar. And there is the leader with 11 minutes and 11 seconds to go. And here is the number 33 E-Type. In 4th place, I don't think he's going to get back at James Dodd. I think John Minshaw will have to settle for being second of the E-Types on this occasion. And behind him, John Spears, 4.5 seconds behind, but lapping at the same sort of pace. So I don't think the TVR is going to catch this E-Type, which we see coming through club corner now. And completing now its 15th lap. So things have kind of settled down. Let's look at the other classes, see what's going on lower down the order. Number 16 leads class CLP, that's Andrew Haddon's Lotus Elan. We haven't got an explanation for why we're not seeing Steve Soper anymore. Whether that was because he came into the pits or whether he stopped out on the circuit, but Steve Soper is no longer circulating.
He stopped out on the circuit about the time you were talking about him being in the pits, so I wonder whether he came out of the pits and immediately had a problem because we didn't see him again.
Yeah, that's right. You're right, he stopped out on the circuit about 5 laps ago. But with so many cars in the race, you suddenly realise there's one important car, that's one of the important cars, is no longer circulating. Olivier Hart hasn't given up by any means. He's just done the absolute best first sector on this lap, but only by a tenth of a second. So Callum Lockie and Olivier Hart lapping at the same sort of pace, and it's going quicker and quicker and quicker. Now, a car that's rather fun, I mentioned it earlier on, number 107, which now has Nick Swift at the wheel. We're not going to be seeing Nick, as far as we know, in the mini race at the end of the afternoon. But he's got into a sort of mini, the Ogle SX1000, which is based on the Mini Cooper, and he's absolutely flying. I think he's somewhere near you now, Alistair, the Ogle.
Yes, nice little car, and much lighter than a Mini, I would assume, being a plastic body. But a little bit outclassed in this race.
Yeah, but Nick Swift, the point I'm making, Nick Swift is a spectacular Mini driver.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I was just going to say, but with Nick Swift at the wheel, yeah, it'll go even quicker. We notice increasing smoke coming from a car that's way off the lead because it had a pit stop 144, now driven by James Hansen, the Daytona Cobra.
Yes, it's not in the top 30, so they're way behind. Through completing his 16th lap is Callum Lockie, just passing an MGB, the number 51 car as it comes into Abbey. That's the car of started by Olivia Wilkinson, now being driven by Austin Kinsella. And the gap first and second has gone up a little bit, despite the big efforts of Olivier Hart, setting the fastest first sector on the previous lap. He is now 15.3 seconds behind. So the race is going the way of not the first time they've won with this car. It's been very successful in this season, having, as Julian Thomas admitted to Andrew, being built last year. And the James Dodd-John Minshaw gap has come down again, 1.6 seconds. John has just done his personal best lap of the race. You've got them with you. You've got them now, Alistair.
At the loop, yes. They're in amongst quite a bit of traffic, but John hasn't given up. But it seemed initially as though once James got past, he was pulling away, but seems to have slowed again now. And he's just negotiating an MGB on the exit of Aintree, but John Minshaw gets a full speed exit, so they're closing up even more as they go down towards Brooklands.
So yeah, they are coming down into Brooklands. James Dodd just in front, reverse of how it was about 10 minutes ago after the pit stops. John Minshaw right behind James Dodd, and determined, if he can be, to be the best of the E-types. Third place, but at the moment in third place is the Dodd E-type, and this is like to go right down to the wire, which is 6 3/4 minutes away. So there we got them coming past the Heritage pits. James Dodd just holding off John Minshaw as they lap the number 222 Elan, or 223 Elan, I should say. Ross Hyatt now at the wheel of that car.
And also past an E-type on the way into Beckett's, and James Dodd gets past. John Minshaw doesn't. He has to wait till the middle of Beckett's, but he slides through on the right-hand side. Does he? Comes out behind, actually. Still hasn't got through, and they're side by side towards Chapel. So this is an advantage to James Dodd.
Yeah, that E-type now being driven by Charlie Jones-Best, started by Tony Best. And so he's past the E-type now and off in pursuit once more of James Dodd. That's going to go right down to the end, I think. But it does depend a little bit on how the traffic catches them. The gap first and second has come down a little, but not so it looks as though it's going to be significant. 5 3/4 minutes of the race remain. There's John Minshaw. For the last few years, he's combined racing in historic cars with racing in the British GT Championship in a Lamborghini most recently, but this year he's decided to concentrate on historic racing. Loves his E-types, there's quite a lot of them. James Dodd, we've seen racing successfully in the Super Touring Series. One of the front runners in that, amongst other things. He's a quick driver, James Dodd. So it's good to see those two E-types being fully extended. Shame that the Pearsons can't get their car up there as well. Gary Pearson in 6th place, having taken over for John, his brother. Down the E-types come. to Brooklands. 4.5 minutes on the clock still. And in third place, it is still James Dodd, then John Minshaw, John Spears, Gary Pearson is 6th, Martin Stretton is 7th, Andrew Haddon is 8th with his Lotus Elan, the first of the small engine cars, and behind him in 9th place is number 172, the Shelby Cobra, now with Harvey Stanley at the wheel, and in 10th place, Mike Wrigley in the E-Type number 89. Up into 11th place, we now have number 199, which is now Eddie Powell in their Lotus Elan, showing with Nick Powell. And in 12th place, number 174 is Ray Donner with his E-Type. So try as he may, I don't think John Minshaw is going to be able to find a way past James Dodd. There's Olivier Hart in the Cobra, Daytona Cobra Coupe. Crosses the line now, and the gap first to second, 14.9 seconds. The green colour of that Cobra, the second place Cobra, the same as the works car, the AC factory car, which looked slightly different from this, but it was the car that was tested on the M1 before the overall speed limit came in, before the 70 mile an hour speed limit, at speeds which caused a bit of a flutter. Questions were asked in Parliament, all that. But it was the colour that AC chose for their cars, the Cobra, and also the AC Ace, on which the Cobra is based, that used to race before that at Le Mans. Oh, a locked front wheel there by John Minshaw. Just going past you, Alice, was he, wasn't he?
Yes, did that on the way into the loop, village, and then took the shortcut across to the loop. But that's lost him a little bit more ground. In fact, it's strange that James Dodd got away, and then suddenly Minshaw was back with him, and now he's pulled away again. Question whether perhaps James had a poor lap somewhere back there, but still running in third, and Minshaw in fourth.
Going through Luffield then, number 211. James Dodd, and the gap first and second just under 15 seconds. That's not coming down, and we're heading towards the final lap. In fact, the leader will get one more lap in. Currently in the second sector I mean, and should get to the end of this lap in time for there to be another one. There it is, just passing the number 13 car, Sean Lynn, the Wilman coloured car, Wilman Racing Team colour. And Callum Lockie just flicking the car nicely into the first part of Club Corner, now coming through the second part, the right-handed element of it, and comes up to the end of the lap, and with a minute on the clock, goes through to start the last lap. Followed by a traditional Cobra, the Daytona Cobra, designed to compete and successfully competed in the end to defeat Ferrari in the FIA International GT Championship in 1965. A car like this, they haven't raced in period at Silverstone, but they've raced at Alton Park and Goodwood in period, driven by Dan Gurney and Phil Hill and Jack Sears. Last time around, in fact, Callum Lockie did the best lap of the race, briefly held it before Olivier Hart came through and went even quicker. So Olivier Hart not giving up. They're down the pit, that's 266, isn't it, down the pit lane? That's the Niall McFadden and now Paddy Shovlin. Or was it going to be Michael Collin? They didn't seem to be able to make up their minds. Anyway, the new fastest lap, Olivier Hart, 2:27.815. But although that reduces the gap a little, down to 13 seconds first to second, and although Callum Lockie is still pressing on, the gap's coming down. Callum is far enough ahead to ensure victory will be his. There's the number 7 Aston Martin DP214, which Simon Hatfield has taken over, but that car, number 7, has only pulled up to 14th place. Callum Lockie being a bit extravagant with his use of the circuit, and comes back into your sight just behind the Aston Martin.
Yes, into Beckett's, sweeps through, in fact, there's an E-type between the Cobra and Simon Hadfield in the Aston Martin as they leave Beckett's for the last time. We have the arrival of the rumbling second Daytona Cobra, that of Olivier Hart. Powers through, still going very well, drifts the car beautifully through Beckett's, one lock to the other. It's a wonderful sight.
Right, the leader lapping Simon Hadfield. He might do the decent thing and not, because that Aston is a car that's been very successful over the years in these sort of races, but it's the day of the reproduction Daytona Cobras that is now with us, and through into the final corner. Ahead of it is the Morgan SLR, just being lapped again by the leader. So Callum Lockie with Julian Thomas wins the International Trophy for Classic GT cars, P66 GT cars. And second place, there it is, to the Cobra Coupe, number 76, driven by David Hart and then son Olivier. And third place will be the first of the E-type Jaguars, number 211. There it is, started by Graham Dodd, and it's his son James who finishes the race, having sustained a bit of damage to the left front wing, I think, on the route. And behind him in fourth place, it should be John Minshaw. There he is now, just coping with an MGB as he comes through to take the checkered flag. John Spears, there he is, John Spears in the TVR Griffith takes fifth place.
Yeah, well, Callum Lockie is just about to climb out of this left-hand drive Cobra, as of course they all were, and Olivier Hart, he's just stopped the two cars, looking absolutely right. Here is Callum, he gives the thumbs up to Olivier Hart, he raises both hands, he points, and very good run from Callum. Let's get him to, and here he is, joined by Julian Thomas. Great job between the pair of them. Jim and Julian just pointed to the car. What a great car, he's saying. Let's see if we can't get Callum to get the crash helmet off pretty quickly. We know he likes to talk. There's the Scotsman with a long history in racing. Yeah, gonna dive right in now. But just talk to Julian first. Well, Callum's got his helmet off too. We talked to Julian mid-race, Callum, and you did what we would expect from you. A mega professional race, mate. I mean, Julian gave you a great car to drive and a bit of a lead, and you just kept it going strong.
Julian's just top level. He's just so good. He just keeps it going. He's very quick. He's cool. He's calm. Hands over a lovely car, and you know, I just have to maintain it. It's loads of pressure because he does all the real work.
Obviously, you realise there's not a very fast Cobra behind you, so you couldn't relax much.
No, I was pretty well flat out all the way.
Well, you didn't have chance to have any fun, chuck it sideways at all?
Oh, well, yeah, I was sideways plenty. Believe you me, it was loads of fun.
Well, I think you're off to collect a mega trophy. We're just speak to Julian. Yeah. We spoke to you mid-race, but Callum did the job, didn't he?
He did, absolutely brilliant. I've been learning from him for the last few years. Yeah. And now we just make great teammates. We think alike, we drive very similar style. We like the car set up in the same way, so we just gel. So it's a great pairing.
Excellent, congratulations, off to get your trophy.
Winner then Julian Thomas and Callum Lockie with the Daytona Cobra Coupe. In second place, David Hart and his son Olivier Hart in the similar car, the AC Cobra Daytona Coupe. In third place, Graham and James Dodd with the Jaguar E-Type number 211. In fourth place, John Minshaw in his E-Type number 33. In fifth place, John Spears with the TVR Griffith number 32. In sixth place, John and Gary Pearson, the brothers in the number 53 E-Type. In seventh place, Martin Stretton in the number 127 Jaguar E-Type. In eighth place, Harvey Stanley and Richard Cook's Shelby Cobra number 172. In ninth place, Lotus Elan of Andrew Haddon, the only small engine car in the top 10, not quite achieving what was achieved last year by Jake Hill with his Lotus Elan, who won the race. And in 10th place, Mike and Matt Wrigley with their Jaguar E-Type.
Delighted to say that James Hansom from Speedmaster Cars is going to make the presentation. So let's get the drivers in the over 2 litre category, the overall top 3, onto the podium in reverse order, starting with third place. In third place, car number 211, Graham Dodd and James Dodd. Well done, gentlemen. Congratulations. Over to the far end of the podium, if you please. They've been standing by, patiently waiting. On the second step of the podium in car number 76, David Hart and Olivier Hart. Congratulations to the two of them. And then onto the top step of the podium at last this weekend, car number 192, Julian Thomas and Callum Lockie. Well done to them both. And they climb aboard the top step of the podium. And if you'd like to, first of all, start at the end of the podium, James, with third place. So Graham and James Dodd about to receive the third place trophy from James Hansom. And then down to this end of the podium where we can reward the Harts, David Hart and Olivier Hart on the second step of the podium. And then to our winners, to Julian Thomas, who started the car, and Callum Lockie, who took the checkered flag. The win goes to Julian Thomas and Callum Lockie. Julian Thomas with his first win at the Silverstone Classic. Absolutely delighted with this. And they all pose together. Oh, yeah, they get garlands around the neck. So a garland for Callum Lockie and a winner's garland for Julian Thomas as well. And betwixt the two of them, they hold the winner's trophy high. And then if we can get everybody to bunch up together as close as we possibly can, we won't get the chance to get you all on the top step of the podium, but we can do our level best to get all 6 drivers as close as we can with their trophies, smiling for the cameras. There are many. And then once we've concluded our podium for the over 2 litre class, which is the overall top 3, we'll press on with the under 2 litre class. Well done to all of our drivers on the podium, to the Dodds, the Harts, and Messrs Thomas and Lockie on the top step of the podium. Graham Dodd just having a chat to Callum and to Julian. We heard from them down in the pit lane, but absolutely fantastic stuff for them at last this weekend, Callum. Well done. And now we've got our podium dress for the under 2 litres, and we'll get those drivers onto the podium once again in reverse order, starting with third place, number 40, Sander Van Gils onto the podium. Well done, Sander. Congratulations to the far end, if you please. On the second step of the podium, the pals, Nick and Eddie. Well done, Nick. Well done, Eddie. Congratulations, onto the second step of the podium they go. And then in the Elan, the winner, number 16, Andrew Haddon. Well done. Congratulations, Andrew. Makes his way forward onto the top step of the podium at the Silverstone Classic. And James, if you'd like to go once again to the far end of the podium to award the third place trophy to Sander Van Gils. Second place to Nick and Eddie Powell. And James Hansom from Speedmaster Cars will present Andrew Haddon with the winner's trophy and the winner's garland around the neck. Well done. Thank you, James, for making the presentation of Speedmaster Cars. And then all of them get together on the top step of the podium to pose for the cameras. It's a great scene for the podium for the under 2 litres. And we will get the chance to have a quick word with our winner, Andrew Haddon, in the top Elan. Many congratulations. Just one quick question. Did you expect to win that, Andrew?
I never expect to win against Steve Sober, but you know.
That's a good rule of thumb, in fairness, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a good benchmark, but no, it's lovely, really nice. I didn't think I was going to at one point when I got spun up the pit lane from a friendly Cobra, but I managed to get back on and it didn't cost me anything, so yeah, happy days.
Very happy days. Well done. Congratulations. He's our winner in the under 2 litre category for the International Trophy for Classic GT cars for the pre-66 cars.